This episode of the podcast contains some very serious and triggering content. Um, if you at any time listening to this feel uncomfortable, you have no obligation to continue listening. If you do need help, find local resources in your area. Thanks for listening. On to the show.
Hey, everybody there. Welcome to the DA Wrestling Podcast here. I am your host, Andrew Purcell. With me, as always, Doug. On today's show, Vince looks like he's probably going bye-bye from WWE altogether soon because, new things just came out about Vince because he's a creepy prick. Rock joins the board of directors of the WWE. Kind of coincidental now with the crap that's happened on. And the WWE Raw now is going to Netflix. We're going to let you know what's probably going on with that one there because that's kind of a big deal, especially for people here in Canada and everywhere else. But first off, let's get to this situation with Vincent Kennedy McMahon here. World-class piece of garbage. I mean, everybody talks about how Hulk Hogan's a world-class piece of garbage. But apparently Vince takes the cake on this one, too. It makes all the shit that Donald Trump does next to nothing. Looks like actually, peanuts. So
Right.
a recent report came out today that Vince has more sexual assaults charged against him, stemming from 2019. It came out recently, just about probably 1 o'clock this afternoon,
Roughly.
roughly around that time. So basically, everything that's gone on the past couple of days is supposed to be a very joyous time for WWE. Basically, just took a giant flush down the toilet due to this.
It went from a very exciting week to oh shit.
Yeah, it seems in my eyes that that creepy prick is probably gonna be gone for the WWE very soon. I don't see Ari Emanuel.
See,
I don't see them keeping him very much
that's
longer.
the thing. He's not even technically with WWE anymore. He's with TKO.
Yeah, he's with TKO side, but they own majority of this.
Yeah.
Sorry, of the product, and he's already been erased from a creative altogether. So that's I'm pretty sure Vince is going to be bought out very shortly.
They just made him sell shares like a few days ago, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. Now it's probably be more of all of them.
Yeah, probably.
So anyway, a lot of the stuff here that will be said is all based on what was said into the book, guys, that came out today. It's alleged as well. Keep that in mind. It is alleged. Before we get into it, make sure if you like the content here, guys, I know this is a very special, different episode, but please make sure to share, like, and subscribe. It helps the channel an awful lot. But anyway, Doug, you happen to read the whole thing. I just happen to be at work.
God.
But I'm on my way to work, and I can let you read it. So I have my drink here with a little bit of Pepsi and some Crown Royal, because probably gonna need some of that for this. Please indulge me.
Fuck, you want to share some with me, motherfucker?
Yeah.
But yeah. So this 67-page lawsuit. This is one of the most harrowing, disgusting. I'm running out of words.
Disturbing.
Thank you.
Stop.
Yeah. Things I've ever read.
It almost shows you that people who have an insane amount of money think they can get away with anything. And it's kind of good to see people who have that much money think they can get away with it, get crapped on.
Right. So basically, according to this lawsuit filed by a Miss Grant this afternoon, she became involved with Vince in 2019.
That's
Again,
not that long ago.
everything that I say is according to this lawsuit.
Yeah, guys, this is all off the actual sheet, not exactly. Here's this is off the sheet.
I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm not going off anything other than what I read today. So after a while, which, by the way, it already started fucked up because Miss Grant was in a very vulnerable place, just lost her parents in what I believe was the spring of 2019. And through her building manager, met Vince, who lived in the same condo building, and basically promised to help her out, whatever, took a liking to her. Then he became very forward and aggressive uh, in a sexual manner. Uh,
Dirty old man syndrome.
yeah, seriously. Um, so I'm gonna I'm gonna spare a lot of details on this just to
Yeah, we don't need to hear a lot of details here. This is going up onto a YouTube site, so let's not do that.
right. So I'm I'm just going to kind of summarize it like this. Vince manipulated this woman, purposely created a position at WWE for her, and under the threat of taking it all away, basically used her as a sex slave for the following 2 and change years, uh, including bringing in John Laurinaitis, who's also named in the lawsuit.
He's a really creepy, messed up individual too.
Yeah.
I think that
So,
guy needs to be put to a home with white walls.
listen, they both like after reading what I read today, if this is all true, both of them deserve to be sentenced to death. Okay.
I mean, they pretty much lost everything now at this point here.
Um, Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a journalist. Okay.
We're both not.
Right.
Although sometimes we have journalist things that we make ourselves look like some journalism, but
Right.
we're not professional journalists here, folks.
So
But we do
I,
read facts.
but I will, you know, there was one instance that really stuck out to me that was described in the lawsuit where one day while at WWE headquarters, Laurinaitis and Vince pulled Miss Grant into a conference room, lock or Vince's private locker room or whatever, locked the door and proceeded to force themselves on her. To the point that one would hold her down while the other did what they wanted to do. Um,
As some kind of messed up.
yeah, so full disclosure, as somebody that just started working in the social work field, this is very disturbing. Um, and I understand at this point it is still an allegation,
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty serious allegation.
but with the amount of stories and evidence, and my God, Andrew, when you get a chance, read the screenshots that are attached to this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll send you the file later. But you know, eventually this all led to Linda finding out in the fall of 2021, to which Vince explained to Miss Grant, like, okay, this has to end, but you have to sign an NDA. And pressured her into signing
For
the
for the audience out there who doesn't know what an NDA is, would you like to tell them what an
non-disclosure
NDA?
agreement.
Thank you very much. Just because it's, I just want to make sure everybody knows what that means.
Right. Now, that being said, to backtrack just a little bit to last summer, when Vince was being investigated for several NDAs that he had forced women to sign,
Yeah, it was $8 million in shove money.
something like that.
Yeah.
apparently, at least according to this, Miss Grant was not included in that, nor was she spoken to by this third party uh,
No.
investigation company that investigation agency that conducted the report.
Well, that's an interesting question as to why then.
I don't know.
Must not have been on the books like the
I
other ones
don't.
were.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But now that becomes a tricky situation then.
Yeah.
But there are at the end of the last like 2 or 3 pages, or maybe more than that, maybe the last 10 pages, is literally all the reasons why the NDA would be null and void
Mm.
in this case.
Yeah.
One of which is because of a fairly new law that passed federally in the United States in December of 2022,
Yeah.
which basically it makes NDAs null and void in terms of victims of
Right.
sexual assault,
Sure.
rape, you know, and according to Miss Grant's lawsuit, she was basically used as an escort, and Vince was basically her pimp.
Yeah.
Um,
That's that's a that's pretty messed up, especially
I've
for Vince.
I got a message at 1 o'clock before you texted me earlier, and I told you about this dude I've been talking to in Discord, right? Uh,
Vaguely, yes.
yeah, and he was the one that actually got me onto this
Yeah.
because I knew we were doing this show tonight, but I thought it was only going to be about The Rock and
Yeah.
and
Well, amazing how that changed, eh?
the Netflix deal.
Yeah.
Um, so so he helped me, he turned me on to the story, and I've literally been reading everything I can on this
Yeah.
for the last 10 hours. That includes the last 2 hours I was at work. Slow day.
Understandable.
But you know, again, if all this is true, now there's going to be due process, you know, but with the amount that already came out of events last year,
Yeah, this just adds on to the pile.
this this
This might be the worst one out of all of it.
this is probably the nail in his coffin,
Yeah.
regardless if he gets the case thrown out or not.
Yeah. So with all this being said and done there, considering what we'll talk about next here, Ari Emanuel is not a stupid individual,
Mhm.
especially considering who he specially brought on.
I should add,
And
before you continue, I
yeah,
should add that TKO issued a statement around dinner time
okay,
stating that uh, Vince McMahon does not control TKO
nope,
and he is not involved in the day to day operations of WWE.
yeah,
However, the allegations are horrific and disturbing, and they are dealing with this internally.
yeah. Which basically,
Vince, there was another one that came out about 45 minutes after that
yeah,
from a spokesperson of Vince McMahon,
yeah,
basically calling it all bullshit, which usual defense.
yeah.
Um,
That being said, there,
so continue, please.
yeah, Ari Emanuel, who was the owner of TKO Endeavor Group, which just had a very start of a great week there. We'll get to that shortly. There, is not stupid. Okay, if you want your company to be taken seriously, which they are, They want to be taken very, very seriously. They want their stock prices to go up. As a shareholder myself, who doesn't own a ton of shares, but I own shares.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me a stockholder, which means I care about what's going on with this right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a shareholder and my option right now is to vote Mr. McMahon to sell his shares and get out of the company 100%, that's what I'm doing. It
Mm-hmm.
does not do well for the stock prices whatsoever. It makes things horrible. The stock opened up on Monday with the great news at $95.85, then
Because
dropped
because of the Netflix
because of
deal.
Netflix deal. Then it dropped. And it dropped again. But rose today to close out at 88.95. I would be surprised if tomorrow it drops tomorrow again because of this stuff here.
Financial ramifications aside.
Yeah. I'm just saying they're not stupid. This
No,
is that
no,
Vince
of
is probably
course.
gone.
Of course. Like they stated in an SEC filing a couple months ago
Yeah.
that Vince was a risk
Yeah.
because of his past legal behavior.
Yeah. This makes it a
Yet,
lot worse.
if especially since he has a track record of this shit,
Yep.
like this is not looking good for him.
Nope.
This is not looking good for John Laurinaitis.
No, he probably just lost everything together.
And mind you, he wasn't named in the lawsuit, but
No.
there was a description in one of the paragraphs that alluded to somebody involved in this being Brock Lesnar.
Hmm.
Because, and I will take this straight from the lawsuit. It said a former UFC heavyweight champion that was a big star that had a large following,
Hmm.
which when you put two and two together,
Yeah.
that's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. But
Um,
who knows what's going to come out of that? The big news on this is Vince McMahon is probably not going to be around at all any much longer. It's almost like you might as well just do whatever it is you got to do, Vince.
and
Just
I would think that if they're smart,
which
the
TKO are.
the rumor of Brock Lesnar showing up at this Saturday's Royal Rumble,
Yep.
that man should be nowhere near it.
We'll see what happens. But
That
now be
man
interested to see what happens.
that man should be nowhere near it.
See what happens
Okay.
with that.
But
But anyway, let's get to some brighter news because that was just a real downer for a little bit. But anyway, great news to start of the week, though, besides this crap that just happened. The Rock is now part of the WWE board of directors,
TKO board of directors.
board of directors, which is also the owner of WWE. Excellent news there. And bring out, and we'll just mix it all together too, because it's part of the whole thing anyway. They also announced that same day that WWE Raw will be moving towards Netflix in January 2025.
Okay, so this deal is really interesting.
It is very interesting.
A lot's come out about this
Yeah.
in the days since. So first of all, to touch on The Rock for a second,
Yep.
not just was he named the board of directors, he got
Yep.
30 million in stock options.
Which is great.
He also now owns the trademark of The Rock.
The rights to the name The Rock,
Yes.
which is fantastic too, because it allows him to use that in his movie career if he wants to.
If he wanted to, but he's already the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
Yeah. But it just makes it
So,
sound better now.
but you know, but yeah, that I mean, the Rock news is big, but it's not going to really matter in terms of WWE.
No.
He's just serving on the board.
Yeah.
Now the Netflix deal, this thing has layers, homie.
Yeah.
Okay, so the deal starts January 2025.
Yep.
Okay. It'll be on Netflix in the US, Canada, the UK, I believe Australia, and Latin America.
Commercial free too, from what I understand.
Yes, ad free as well, but expect your Netflix to go up again.
Yeah, right now they're paying 16.49. They say if you want the ads, you can still pay for Netflix at $5 and something cents if you care for ads. If you don't care for ads, it's 16.9 or something like that. From what I was reading on the news here in Canada,
Now,
5.49 isn't bad. I don't give a fuck about ads.
something that came out. Okay, so about the deal itself,
Yeah.
it's $5 billion over 10 years. Netflix has an option to opt out after 5.
Mm-hmm.
They also have an option in there to extend it another 10 years.
Jesus
For I
Christ, really?
for I believe another 5 billion.
Wow.
Um Now
Jesus Christ, that's 500 million a fucking year.
it is 500 million a year.
That's a fucking shitload of money.
Yep. That's TV rights for you, dude.
Jesus Christ.
But in news that came out today, I believe, on top of this, we are about to see the end of the WWE network outside of the United States. Because when this deal happens in January of 2025, WWE's entire library is also moving to Netflix.
Yeah,
Gives me a reason to actually watch Netflix now.
yeah, I give me a reason to get Netflix back too, but it depends on which one I get. Quite frankly, though, I mean, it's kind of shitty because I mean, through a podcast standpoint, through a fan standpoint, we are a wrestling podcast. We watch WWE, we watch AEW. That is part of our bread and butter. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to, if we don't have Netflix, we're gonna have to get Netflix. Um,
At
unless
least
something
one of us.
happens with unless something happens with Rogers, which still has yet to be determined what goes on. But I'm
Yeah,
assuming right
so
now Rogers' deal is going to go kaput in the middle of at the end of the year
yeah,
or next year, whenever that deal is up.
I haven't I
I haven't heard
haven't
anything from Rogers' side yet.
no. And again, like also
Like,
add on to this story.
yeah,
The deal with USA expires at the end of September
yeah.
this year.
Mhm.
And with the new deal not starting until January 2025 on Netflix,
Mhm.
WWE is going to have to find somewhere to air Raw for 3 months,
Yeah.
basically.
It's amazing to see what happens. Like I know when Rogers when WWE went to should I say Rogers when WWE went to Peacock in the
Hmm.
US, the Rogers deal was completely in place and nothing really affected that deal at all. Because
Something tells me that deal's up now.
in Rogers,
Yeah. Uh,
I don't know.
I mean,
You have to look
listen,
that up.
for right now, for right now,
Mhm.
Rogers still has SmackDown. They still have NXT.
Mhm.
But I think with the library moving to Netflix, I think that also means that like PLEs are going to Netflix as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and they're gonna live stream. Like they're not taping it in advance,
So
which is something that's never been done before on Netflix.
so I just looked it up really
So they're
quickly. I
breaking
looked
new
up
ground here.
I just looked at it really quickly there.
Yeah.
The deal with Rogers runs through this year. So as of
Okay.
2025, it's no more Rogers. So I'll be interested to see what goes on with that. I'm assuming
So
everything just go to Netflix, unless some deal is made to keep that off of Netflix there.
SmackDown and NXT.
SmackDown's moving to CW, so SmackDown will sorry, NXT's moving to CW.
Right, but
So that
SmackDown's
should
moving
be
to USA.
US taste. So that's going to be, but that deal runs out in 2027, 2028.
Right.
And the NXT one is the exact same things. And then eventually everything on the WWE side will be on Netflix, which means you got to think that UFC is going to move towards Netflix soon at some point there too.
Well, right now UFC is still with actually UFC just started on Rogers. So that's not going anywhere.
No, but eventually they'll probably move towards Netflix at some point.
I
At
don't
least
know.
you think so. I mean, yeah, I think that at least.
They used to have UFC stuff on Netflix.
I mean, like actual like show fights and shit.
No, I mean like 10 years ago, they used to have like ultimate knockouts and shit like that on there.
No, I'm talking about actually having pay-per-views on there and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of what I mean. Similar to what WWE.
Well,
Like,
I mean the
I mean,
UFC has Fight Pass,
yeah, that's true.
which is, trust me, a much better system than the WWE network.
Fair enough. So that's pretty much that, folks. I mean, to be honest, it's been a crazy couple of days. This crazy week for us in the world of wrestling too. My apologies though to you guys though too. We got Dynamite this week. With this news that went on today, we were going to do a Dynamite review, but unfortunately, with this news today was much bigger. So next week we'll do a Dynamite review on that one instead. Our apologies, guys. To be honest, there wasn't much on there. I mean, the only great match on that card was Copeland versus
Minoru Suzuki.
Missouri Suzuki, and that was basically it.
I I watched it. I have a way to watch it now. I just didn't have time to watch it last night.
Fair enough. It wasn't
Um,
it wasn't great. What are we doing? SmackDown. So SmackDown
SmackDown will be coming to you tomorrow night.
Friday. Yep, we'll be doing that tomorrow night, and then the Royal Rumble review will be up here on sometime Sunday or something.
Royal Rumble review. We're planning to record Sunday because I'm gonna have people over.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have people over Saturday night.
Yep.
So we won't be able to record right after.
Mhm.
So we're thinking Sunday afternoon we're gonna record. So I'll try to have that up Sunday night.
Really good idea.
If not Monday morning on my way to work,
For sure.
which I do that. I did that with Raw review this week. I put that up when I was on the bus.
Yeah, might as well.
But yeah, so I mean, a bit more of a serious episode from us, given the content. But we thank you for listening. Um, be sure to, like, share, subscribe. I'm stealing Andrew's shit now.
That's all right.
Be sure to like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Find us everywhere except Apple. Um, Follow the show, our socials, DA Sports Podcast on Instagram, DA Sports Pod on X, uh, YouTube, DA Wrestling Podcast. See, I
Check
still
it
do it too.
check out our TikTok there. I just dropped a new TikTok video on
Andrew
there
just put up
of
a TikTok about our discussion on our Dynamite review last week that we had about Kazuchika Okada leaving New Japan in 6 days.
Yeah. Go take a look at that. Check it out.
Until then, he is A Purcell 1982 on Instagram, Andrew at DA Sports on TikTok. That's where you'll go find that video. I am D Lions 1991 on X, and we'll catch you down the road.
Special Harry Potter spell for you, businessman. Abracadabra!